morning, guys. Today we are going to be doing factoring trinomials with a equals 1. When I say a equals 1, I mean that this a in front of the x squared is just a 1. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first example. So we're going to do example number 1. And we are going to factor the trinomial x squared plus 11x plus 30. All right. This is a method I like to do when factoring trinomials. A equals 1. Again, what's that variable, that coefficient in front of the x squared? It is a 1. What I like to do is called the box method. And what we do with the box method is we draw this box right here. And we are going to figure out what goes above and below the box that makes this trinomial. And just to do a quick review of why I use the box method, when you multiply x plus 3 and x plus 11, this is how I use the box to multiply them out. I put x up here, 3 right here, x, and 11. And then I just multiply these. X times x is x squared, 3x, 11x, and 33x. And this gives me the polynomial that follows. From here, I know that these two are like terms, so I add them and I get 14x. So now, since we're going to be working backwards, I am going to put the trinomial in the box first, and I'm going to try to figure out the binomials. These are my binomials. I'm going to try to find those factors that are binomials. So that's what we're going to do with this example right over here. We're given the trinomial, and we have to put it in the box. Just like the example we just did, the x squared goes here, the 30 goes here, and these two middle terms have to give me 11x. All right, so this again is kind of like a guess and check method where we have to use our mathematical skills to figure out what goes above. So the only way I can get x squared here is to do x times x. So I know my binomials are going to have an x right there. Now, this is where the guess and check part comes in. 30. I'm thinking of numbers that multiply to 30 and add to 11 because I need the 11 in the middle part. So I'm going to think of my multiples of 30. I have 1 times 30, but 1 times 30 will not give me 11. I got 2 and 15. That does not work either. I got 3 and 30. Oh, no, not 3 and 30, sorry. 3 and 10. But 3 and 10 do not give me 11, so that's not working. 30, I cannot divide it by 4. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 5 times 6. And 5 and 6 multiplied give me 30, and added give me 11. So that means that a 5 goes here, and a 6 goes here. If I were to fill in the box, I were to get 5x, 6x. And if I add those two, they do give me 11x. So I check that part off. So how do you factor this? X plus 6 and x plus 5. So there is example number 1 factored. So let's go ahead and try another example because I feel like if we have not seen this example, we might be thinking, oh my gosh, that looks complicated. Let's go ahead and try x squared minus 6x plus 9. And again, I like to factor this out by putting it into the box. The x squared always goes in this first term. The constant at the end goes in this box. And the 2 in the middle, we always add so that it gives us negative 6x. All right. The easiest part to factoring is knowing that this is x and this is x. So we got x times x gives me the x squared. Now we have the tricky task of figuring out what multiplies to 9 and adds to negative 6. Now notice that I need a negative 6 and I need a positive 9. The only way to get a negative in the middle by adding is if both of them are negative, because a negative times a negative is going to give you that positive. And when you add two negatives, you're going to get that negative. So we know that that's a negative and that's a negative. Now we're asking ourselves, what two numbers multiply to 9 and add to 6? 1 times 9, but 1 and 9 does not add to 6. What about 3 times 3? 3 times 3 actually does work. So here we're going to have a 3, and here we're going to have a 3. So this trinomial factors to x minus 3 times x minus 3. All right, guys, so that is 2 examples of how to factor. Go ahead and try the ones on the bottom.